Hello movie buffs, my name is Steve, aka NJMovieFreak, and today we're going to take a trip back to the 80s where film comedies were at their peak. You have great classics such as Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, E.T., and Back to the Future. I thought I'd discuss one of the very few films that doesn't exactly have to do with Thanksgiving, but more about the adventure about getting home in time for Thanksgiving. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a 1987 holiday classic written and directed by the late John Hughes. John Hughes has an amazing repertoire of movies, including The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Weird Science, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Much like Adam Sandler, John Hughes has many of his actors that cross over into other films, such as Ben Stein, Eddie McClurg, Lyman Ward, Larry Hankin, Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall, and Macaulay Culkin. The film stars Steve Martin as a marketing executive trying to get home in time for Thanksgiving, and John Candy as a lighthearted, half-anecdote-filled, zany traveling salesman. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was released on November 25, 1987, 33 years ago. So, if you haven't seen it by now, spoilers! The movie begins with Neil Page, who is sitting through a monotonous meeting in New York City that ends without an important company decision. Neil rushes out of the meeting and unsuccessfully attempts to hail two different cabs during rush hour. One was stolen by a quick-on-his-feet young businessman, and the other by Del Griffith, a talkative traveling salesman who sells shower curtain rings. Neil and Del meet again at LaGuardia Airport, where they board a plane together to Chicago O'Hare International Airport, but due to a snowstorm, is diverted to Wichita, Kansas. Neil, realizing that there is no other choice, spends the night in Wichita at a rundown hotel with Del. During the night, Del gets on Neil's nerves, causing Neil to lose his temper and chastise Del for his annoying behavior. In response, Del admits that he thinks Neil is a cold-hearted cynic and that despite how Neil feels, he loves himself as well as his wife. On the following day, they hitch a ride to a train station, are assigned seats in separate cars, and part ways. As Murphy's Law would have it, the train breaks down, stranding the passengers in a Missouri field where Del and Neil are reunited. After they reach Jefferson City, Del raises cash by selling shower curtain rings to naive teenagers and adults, advertising them as earrings. Del uses the funds to take Neil out to lunch as a thank you, but Neil unwittingly offends Del over lunch and the two part ways again. At the St. Louis airport, Neil attempts to rent a car, but finds the space at the rental car lot empty. Neil lashes out a profanity-filled diatribe at the rental agent, but she is unfazed. By chance, Del arrives with his own rental car and picks up Neil. The situation becomes worse when Del nearly gets them killed by getting both his jacket arms stuck in the car chair as well as driving in the wrong direction. The car eventually catches fire, and Neil succumbs to bartering his watch for a motel room for himself. Del is broke and attempts to sleep in his car, but Neil feels sympathy for Del and invites him in. They both resume driving to Chicago the next morning, but their badly damaged car is impounded by the police. 2 days later, they finally make it to Chicago and part ways at the train station. This film teaches us three things: motivation, patience, and friendship. We have two people from two different worlds who meet up at an airport and end up going on the adventure of a lifetime. They say to truly get to know somebody, you either have to drink with them,
To the wives. To the wives!
or argue with them.
You play with your balls a lot. Larry Bird doesn't do as much ball handling in one night as you do in an hour. Are you trying to start a fight?
This film shows that sometimes in life, you have to put your differences aside and work together to achieve a common goal. Friendship is a hard thing to come by, and from the looks of what Neil and Del went through, you can tell their friendship will last a lifetime. And now for some behind-the-scenes facts. Number 1. The film was based on a true story that happened to John Hughes. He was working in New York City. He had to fly back home when all the flights were canceled due to a snowstorm, which made him take a later flight, which diverted to Wichita, Kansas. He didn't end up getting home to Chicago until 5 days later. Number 2. John Hughes ended up writing the screenplay in just 3 days, which is extremely quick for movies, but John Hughes was known for disappearing sometimes between 1 week or 2 weeks at a time, doing between 20 and 30 rewrites, and then re-emerging with 120-page screenplays. Number 3. The film has a cuss record that was set by Steve Martin during the car rental scene. Steve Martin dropped a total of 17 F-bombs in just under a minute. Number 4. During the scene where Neil's wife is laying alone in bed, you can hear the dialogue on the television set in the room from She's Having a Baby, starring Kevin Bacon.
What if it was one of your friends, huh? What if the shoe was on the other foot? I go barefoot!
Now that film wasn't released until after Planes, Trains, and Automobiles came out. Kevin Bacon also has a cameo at the beginning of the movie where he beats Steve Martin to the cab. Number 5. Seth MacFarlane, creator, writer, and voice actor of Family Guy, who's never shied away from making pop culture references, has parodied this movie on a couple occasions.
You want to hurt me? Go right ahead if it makes you feel any better. I'm an easy target.
Number 6. The film was originally over 3 hours long, but the studio thought it should be cut to under 2 hours. Interestingly enough though, the deleted scenes put together was actually longer than the theatrical cut itself. Number 7. When many television stations air films, certain channels tend to cut scenes partially or altogether due to profanity, violence, or sex. In Planes, Trains, and Automobiles' case, when shown on television and in order to compensate for total runtime, there is a deleted scene used where Neil and Del are having dinner on the airplane in place of the infamous F-bomb scene. Number 8. I don't know if this was part of Del's anecdotes or words of wisdom, but I detected a little nod to Summer Rental. In the movie, John Candy stars as an air traffic controller who's burned out and is forced to take leave and takes his family down to Florida for vacation. Even though Del travels a lot, he seems to be able to predict departures, delays, and even air traffic problems.
I got 18 hours of air traffic backed up. Any way you slice it, the odds are we're going to be having our turkey roll right here.
Number 9. I am not a huge fan of remakes, and in my opinion, only a handful of films actually pulled it off, such as The Fly, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and The Thing. Needless to say, there is a remake in development with Will Smith and Kevin Hart as the 2 main leads.
Gobble gobble.
Number 10. The scene towards the end, where Steve Martin is on the train laughing to himself, was actually his real reactions in between takes. Steve Martin was trying to think of his next lines in his upcoming takes while he was unknowingly being filmed by the cameraman. John Hughes loved his reactions so much that he teamed up with the editor and scoured hours of footage of Neil, Del, and his family to create the montage at the end.
Here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
I would give this film 5 out of 5 stars. The movie is filled with suspense, drama, and comedy. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a movie that most of us can relate to, in terms of not being able to catch a cab in New York City, missing your flight, and getting stuck to that one person that's going to encompass Murphy's Law.
Is this a coincidence or what? Have a seat.
It teaches people that even though our lives are moving fast and we're constantly trying to make it, that we should take time and slow down and always help the other person in need. Oh, now I wish I had that pillow. My back is killing me.
Those aren't pillows.
Just want to talk a little bit about the Blu-ray for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's put up by Paramount Pictures, and this is the 30th anniversary. It's got some special features here. Getting there is half the fun. The story of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which is actually a press conference that was done in 1987 with some of the cast members, directors, and producers. John Hughes, Life Moves Pretty Fast, featuring John Hughes, the voice of a generation, which is pretty much like a little summary of all his work over the years. The legacy of John Hughes, again, more about his work.
The last thing I want to be remembered as is an annoying blabbermouth.
John Hughes for adults, a tribute to John Candy, which is like a nice little 3-minute dedication to John Candy and his work over the years.
You know, nothing grinds my gears worse than some chowderhead who doesn't know when to keep his big trap shut.
And the deleted scene, Airplane Food, which was used on TV in place of the infamous F-bomb scene. It's a really good transfer on Blu-ray. Compared to the DVD, it's much clearer, you can hear them better, and the bonus features are really good. So I would definitely recommend this Blu-ray for anybody that loves this movie. If you like this video, click on that subscribe button below. Give it a like, give it a share. Turn on those notifications so you can stay up to date with all the news, videos, podcasts, and everything NJ Movie Freak related. I really appreciate everyone for watching this video. If you have any comments, any questions, please post them in the comments section below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll see you next time.